Hey guys, this is Nick with Attack 2 Gone, and tonight we are going to go over a heartbreaker of a war for us, where we lost against a group called Ace Vietnam. Now these guys were pretty darn close to a war clan in that they 2-starred all of our Town Hall 10s, and then 3-starred all of our Town Hall 9s, and all of our Town Hall 8s except for Outlaw, which, one of their uppers could have reached down and nuked him, but they just decided they didn't need to do that. So this was rough on us. Honestly, these guys their attack strategy wasn't that great, but they did a really good job of selecting armies for our bases. So just the army that they chose tended to get them the win. So let's take a peek, starting from the top down, on their attacks on us. So this is an attack on Hayden by their number 3. And I want you to notice something here. This guy does not have any heroes. He got a 2-star on our top base. Hayden's almost a maxed out Town Hall 10 with no heroes. Now, he did this with dragons. That's something that we're not usually used to attacking with, but I've seen it be a really consistent strategy for getting 1 and 2 stars at the Town Hall 10 level. So he just sends his balloons in and his dragons. Honestly, he probably let his loons get a little bit ahead of the pack. But hey, they go in there, his loons target and take out 2 of the air defenses, 1 of the multi-infernos, the dragons take out the Town Hall, and then he's raged them all up, and by the time all the dragons dry out, he's got 50% damage, and if he had heroes, he could have easily gotten to the 60 or 70% damage range. Hayden did a pretty good job of protecting his air defenses there. But if Hayden's air defenses were closer out to the side, then he might have sent in some heroes to try to pick off 1 or 2 of those before sending the dragons in. Now, anyway, that's one of their attacks, Dragon Rush. Let's take a peek at their one on Chirp. Now, Chirp, this is a new base for him, so he's still figuring out all the kinks here. And he has... I like this base a lot more than his other one. His other one was very compressed and very easy for people to quake his base and get into the middle. So he did a more spread out base here, which is good on some of the places. But look here, here, and here. In all of these corners, he could easily quake or even jump straight from one of those unprotected outsides, where he could wall breaker in these corners without any opposition. And jump straight to the core. This guy notices that, and he does it. So he sends in his damage-dealing force down the middle, his wizards and his P.E.K.K.A. And then in order to help prevent them from walking, he sends in golems on the outside here, dumps the golems in, and the golems help create a bit of a funnel. So his damage-dealing troops, instead of going around the core like we want them to do in these bases, his damage-dealing troops go straight to the middle. This was one of the reasons that Almighty was so successful with all of his attacks when he was with us, because he would usually create a good funnel on both sides with golems so that his main damage-dealing force, his wizards or his P.E.K.K.A. or whatever, would go straight to the core and take out that Town Hall. So again, this is a good attack. They did a good job of finding the weakness in this base and gave us a good template. Let's move on to Hood. Hood is also an early Town Hall 10, and he's still figuring out how exactly he wants to set up his base. But his base is similar to Chirp's old base in that it's very compressed. This can be good simply because there's a lot of damage in one space, which can make it hard on the attacker. But on the other hand, if the attacker knows what they're doing, they can just quake into the middle, and you can actually see here that it's almost like a natural funnel has been created. These walls here, it's not absolutely keeping them from going any other direction, but it makes his attacking troops very likely to go in and end up targeting that Town Hall. Especially since there's no space between his core in here and buildings outside, there's nothing to draw troops around the center and allow those infernos in the middle to pick them off. So that's another potential area for improvement on our base designs. When they're too compressed at Town Hall 10, it's easy for the bad guys to just pierce straight to our middle instead of getting distracted and going for a walk. Let's see an attack on GW. This was the same guy that did the dragon attack on Hayden, I believe. Yes, it is. And we can see he's doing another air attack, but take a peek at how he does this. He lures the dragon out. He knows he's doing all air, so he doesn't care if there are balloons in the clan castle. They're not going to affect his troops. And then he does a queen swap here. Kind of. He sends out his queen, sacrifices her to the dragon. Notice as soon as the dragon kicks onto her, he has to drop that ability so that the dragon doesn't kill his queen off. And after that, he's done. Normally, when you're doing these kinds of attacks, you would try to take out the enemy queen as well. So, you know, especially since GW has such exposed heroes up here, he could have easily, if he wanted to do a more combination attack, he could have dropped the golem here to pull the queen down, send in his queen on the backside, kill that queen off, and then take out this air defense at the same time. And then instead of using 5 lavas, he could have used maybe 4. But the penta lavaloon is still very powerful, so you can see he doesn't really use any finesse here at all. Usually when you're using the penta, you're not going to want to send in quite so many lavas in the same place. One of the benefits of having those lavas is they can go out and spread out over the base and soak up traps that your balloons might run into. So he doesn't even do a very good job of dropping his units here. He also doesn't save any balloons, which would make a lot of sense, especially since GW's got this backside wizard tower and air defense that he's going to have to take care of. Usually if there's a backside wizard tower, you're going to want to save a couple balloons in your pocket so that you can send them on the back, distract the wizard tower, and then send the loons in. Of course, his queen actually survives, which really helps him with cleanup, but even if his queen died off, he didn't need her. Look at how many lava pups he's got going on here. And one of the interesting things here is that the archer queen doesn't end up surviving. Now that's kind of a risky move, letting the enemy archer queen survive while you're sending in your lavaloons. But it can work out. So we're going to fast forward through this cleanup, and this time I'm going to rewind it, and we'll give it one more shot, but we're going to watch the GW's defending archer queen, see the kind of damage she does. So again, penta lavaloon is a very powerful attack when it's done right. Even when it's not done with much finesse like this guy did here, he still ended up crushing GW's base. Alright, so the archer queen is engaged. She takes out 1 balloon, 2 balloons, the traps take out balloons, all the balloons that went up, about almost half of his balloons have gone down. That's more balloons. So the archer queen, she does get some damage done to her by the balloon drops. And that's what ends up killing her, simply because the balloons are targeting these defenses, and then the splash damage around those defenses is enough to kill off the archer queen. So, bit of a risky move. It ended up playing out for him, but leaving that archer queen up, you know, she was probably responsible for the death of almost half of his balloons before she gets killed off. So, penta lavaloon, definitely a tactic for our guys to look at because it is, as you can see, very dominant on the right bases. All right, moving on down the list. We're not going to hit all of these troops, but we are going to hit the ones that make sense to follow up. Okay, this was an interesting attack because he's doing goHo combination, and as you would do at Town Hall 9, he's got a pretty heavy kill squad. He's got 2 P.E.K.K.A, 2 golems, some wizards. I think he started off with about like maybe 10 to 15 wizards, so less than the usual 20 that we're used to bringing in our armies. And so he sends his kill squad and they take care of the heroes. And notice his use of spells here. Usually when you're doing goHo, you're saving a couple heals for the hogs, but he doesn't care about those hogs surviving at all. He actually gets really lucky here because he has most of his troops go down the center, but that one P.E.K.K.A goes off to the side. And that actually becomes a big deal in the success of this raid, especially since his hogs don't have any heals. Since the hogs don't have heals, you're going to want to wait to drop them until the defenses they're targeting are distracted. So he drops in 10 hogs from the left side here, and then he drops in 5 hogs from the right. And I want you to look at how effective each side is. The hogs on the left are not being protected. All the defenses are targeting them. Whereas the hogs on the right, remember there's only 5 hogs on the right, 10 on the left, have that pekka. And so both hog groups have made their way down and cleared out a ton of buildings before biting the dust, even though they were not healed up. He's got enough of his kill squad remaining that they're able to bust through the backside. So again, not an awful lot of finesse in this attack. He just kind of lets his hogs die out, doesn't really care about them, and if that P.E.K.K.A hadn't taken a walk around the outside, his hogs would have been much less successful. But as it is, he manages to clean it up. So backside hogs are something Madge has been playing around with, and they can be very powerful. Usually Madge is getting almost at least as many defenses taken out as hogs in his army, because he's usually going just 4 to 5 hogs. That can be a big deal in turning a high percentage 2-star into a 3-star. Okay, so now we're taking a look at Zeus. This is another goHo, and honestly, this one is so clumsily executed. So he's coming in from the side with his kill squad. That's decent. He's trying to get the archer queen down, especially since in this raid, I'll pause it real quick, he's got 3 heal spells for his hogs, and then he's only got 1 rage for his kill squad to help them take out the queen and do any damage in here. So if you are an attacker looking at Zeus's base, you want to look at where the empty spots are. There's an empty spot here, here, up here, and over here. Notice that in none of those spaces is there room for a double giant bomb set, which automatically means this is a very good candidate for hogs. It has a nice little track here around the middle, which means that your kill squad is going to be very effective. If you wanted to do targeted hogs, you could send your kill squad in, and then as these defenses on the corners are being distracted, then you could send in hogs a little bit by little bit to take them out. Just 1 hog, 2 hogs. That's kind of Madge's approach to dealing with it, although he usually does it later in the raid. This guy chooses to send all of his hogs in on the side, which is foolish because he ends up triggering the spawn. But look at this. There is absolutely nothing to lead his hogs over this space. If instead he had dropped some hogs in on this side, and then as all these troops, this one, that one, the expos might be locked on at this point, as they're all focused on the kill squad, as the kill squad penetrates, you drop in maybe 5 or 10 hogs, they start working this way. Once they get to about here, then you drop in more hogs on this side. That way, none of your hog groups are going to path over that double giant bomb. They're all going to go that way, and he could have saved himself a heal. So again, very clumsy attack on this guy's part. And absolutely no finesse. He just does an Asian wall there and hits some spring traps, hits that giant bomb set. It forces him to do an early heal there. But honestly, look at how the kill squad is broken off in one direction, and now the hogs are circling the base in the other. That means that he can put most of his hogs through the same heal spell at a time. And he just drops his heal spells one after another and works them around. And while those hogs are in heals, especially when there are so many hogs, there's absolutely nothing the defense can do, even when they run over single giant bomb sets. So guys, this is something to keep in mind. The hogs and the loons can be very, very powerful. You have to use more tactics, more skill when you're putting these army compositions together. You can't just dump all of your hogs or all of your loons like you could at Town Hall 8 and, kind of get lucky, have stuff work out. But it can be very effective. Another thing he could have done is he could have dropped, some wizards on the backside here to save up in time. Of course, that king that was still roaming around on this side would have made things a little difficult, so nitpicking. I'm also nitpicking because I don't like them because they beat us, so in fairness. Bam Bam, I'm not sure. Is this an attack we care about? Not really. This guy uses a pretty standard go wipe army, and he doesn't really succeed because he did a good job of picking his army composition or because he did an especially good job of attacking the base. as is normal, he attacks from the Archer Queen side so that he can take her out because she's dealing almost 200 damage per second. No other defense in the base is doing that. But honestly, the only reason this guy succeeds is because Bam Bam's walls are very low level, so his main kill squad is able to break through here, and also because this P.E.K.K.A. decides to take a walk. Otherwise, all of these archers and wizards and everything else, they easily could have been picked off and killed. So again, this guy doesn't get the 3-star because of any skill. He just gets the 3-star because of lower level walls and because of dumb luck, the P.E.K.K.A. happened to go in the right direction. So not much for us to learn there. On Sven, Madge, Yi, and me, and Chief, those were all hit downs. So I guess there is something to learn here in that when you're a Town Hall 9 hitting a Town Hall 8, or another Town Hall 9 with only 3 air towers or air defenses, then dragons with 4 Lightquake is very effective because you can get rid of 2 of the air defenses and then just spam your dragons in. Again, this is not an attack that requires skill. You just put the spells down, dump your troops, and wait for it to end. So not a lot of skill there, but that is something to keep in mind. If we're in our early Town Hall 9s, I know that we've been trying to put off building defenses to try to get slightly easier enemies, but it might be a good idea for the one defense to build to be an air defense so that we don't have these hit downs where we're just totally blown out of the water. So we're not going to show it on Madge, Yi, or me, or on Chief. So let's get to land. Okay, guys, this is where we're starting to look at Town Hall 8s, and the story of these attacks are hogs are overpowered. Hogs are overpowered. At Town Hall 8, especially if you're looking at a base, oops, that's not the button I wanted to do. If you are looking at a base and seeing, empty space, empty space, empty space, empty space, none of these spaces are double giant bomb sets. There is a potential for a double giant bomb set here, but somebody else has already attacked Land's base, and he knows that there aren't double giant bombs there. When you see a base like this, especially when the double giant bomb locations are out here on the edges, it is too easy to attack. Okay, so let's think about this logically. If you just heal over a double giant bomb set, or over a single giant bomb set, then your hogs are not going to die. So we can continue playing this while we're talking. So he does the lure. He does a bad job with these lures. He's got poison 2 and poison 4. He's wasting time by pulling his troops over to the side. Don't do that. And he's also wasting troops because he's killing archers. Some of his wizards are going to get picked off by the balloon drop. He loses even more in other places. So don't be that guy. But look at this. He sends his hogs in. He knows that there's a giant bomb here, so he heals. That's easy. He also sends in another wave from this side, but that's not even necessary. I mean, look at this. We only have 1 defense here. Other than that, there's absolutely nothing to convince hogs that are going this way to cross that single giant bomb set. So he could very easily have just sent his hogs in from this way, but before doing that, just send in 4 hogs. They kill the cannon, they might get the bomb trigger here, but even if they don't get the bomb trigger, that's a trap negated, because you send in your hogs, and then you just send in a wizard on the backside. Wizard cleans everything up, nothing ever touches that part of the base. So again, if this guy had thought about it, he could have made his attack even easier. But even with that poor planning, all he does is heal over where the giant bombs are. He doesn't do anything creative. In fact, that's kind of letting the defense control your attack, because GW is the one who specified where this guy was going to drop his heals, not the attacker. So again, you know, this this guy loses so many hogs that he doesn't have to. He does a poor job on the spell placement. He wastes wizards and other troops on the front end. And even with all that, he still manages to come out with a 3-star. Hog sweep through, it's devastating. So please, guys, consider using hogs, especially at Town Hall 8, especially when there are no spots for double giant bomb sets, and triple especially when you know exactly where the traps are. So now we're looking at Mkeech, and any Town Hall 8s, if you are still with me, stop here, listen. So I said that hogs were great. On this particular base, like on GW's base, there were open spots where you don't know where the bombs are. But look at this base. There are only 4 possible places where there could be bombs within the base. You could have had some sprinkled around. That would be crappy base design, and it wouldn't affect many hogs. Only these 4 spaces. There is absolutely no reason for us to go there, so we can negate that. And then, guys, whenever you're doing hogs, you want to try to test for traps. Honestly, that is one of the main reasons at Town Hall 9 you always have kill squads, because A, your kill squad can create trigger traps or prevent the hogs from going to parts of the bases with traps. They can get rid of the CC, and they can get rid of that Archer Queen who will decimate the hogs. So on a base like this, instead of using a kill squad, just send in a couple hogs. And in this respect, this guy gets it right. You can see he sends in 1 hog, triggers the bomb. Sends in another hog, triggers the bomb. Sends in another hog, oh darn, it didn't go right. Oh well, I'll spend 1 more hog. He has blown up every single threat in this base to hogs. Now again, here he goes with the awful, horrible trigger. He should have just poisoned in place, and he could have poisoned both at once. And look at that, he's destroyed like all of his wizards, but he's got 3 wizards left. I think he brought 8 wizards to this thing. 8 wizards and a bunch of archers that he could have used for cleanup. He's only got 2 or 3 wizards left. He sends his hogs in, you know, decent spell placement. This last spell placement was awful because it got there way too early. So the Skellies kill off his hogs. He has bad luck here. Look at this. His hogs, they start fighting with our Barbarian King, and our Barbarian King kills almost all of them off. He has destroyed every single but 2 hogs. He only had 2 wizards for cleanup. Now he's only got 1, and the Barbarian King, and he still rocks this base. So guys, this is a super common base because it is very effective against P.E.K.K.A.s, against go-wipes. So don't use go-wipe. That's what the attacker wants you to do. They want you to burn that attack. Now, there are variations to this base, right? So there are going to be some variations where there are open spots further in. And that requires a little more planning. Sometimes you send in a couple hogs to destroy one part of the base, trigger the bombs, and then you go on with your melee attack. I don't know. There are varieties to this, but when you see a base like this that is so easily set up, use hogs, save yourself a lot of time and trouble. So guys, it's been a long video, sorry about that, but in general, I'm going to say these guys were not fantastic attackers, but they were excellent at choosing the right army compositions for the base, and their army compositions made up for their shoddy attacks. So I hope we learned something. I'm really excited about trying out some of these attacks because I want to get better at go-wipe, at hogs, or at using go-wipe with backside hogs or backside loons, at using go-wipe hog combinations where there are more hogs than the kill squad, at using lavaloon. There are a lot of really good attacks here and really good ideas, like dropping dragons down, especially when the air defenses are out on the edge. Let's take a quick gander. So it looks okay. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, we were trying to do a queen walk on Chirp's base. Queen walk with either hogs or dragons. This would be a difficult base to do it on simply because there is such a concentration of damage in so many of the corners, but this corner up here, for example, is really weak. So he could have busted his queen in, maybe with one golem, and made sure that this air defense was killed off. And then he could have, I don't know, light quaked this one and light quaked this one, and then just sent in his dragons from this side, or something like that. I don't know. But there are a lot of potentials for trying to branch out into air attacks at Town Hall 9 and Town Hall 10. And there are a lot of cool things for us to experiment with. So, kind of a disappointing war, but I'm looking forward to playing around with this stuff in the future. Hope it was a fun video. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.